The tragic mistake, hook and suspense. In the vast and endless expanse of space, the Galactic Empire had grown far too comfortable. With their immense fleet and powerful armies, they ruled over countless worlds. To them, the people of Earth were nothing more than a tiny, insignificant species, isolated in a corner of the galaxy. But the Empire's arrogance would soon lead to their most terrible mistake. On one fateful day, the Empire's military was stationed on a distant planet, far from Earth. They had just finished a successful mission and were feeling invincible. In their eyes, there was nothing that could challenge their might. But as they relaxed and celebrated their victories, a terrible decision was made. The Empire had always considered humanity weak, fragile, and insignificant. They never saw Earth's people as a real threat. But when a small human child was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, the Empire's soldiers decided to make a quick, brutal example of him. The child, no older than 8, was from a small village, unimportant in the grand scheme of things. Yet, to the Empire's cold, calculating minds, his life held no value. He had seen something he shouldn't have, a secret operation that could threaten the Empire's power. Without any thought, the Empire gave the order. They executed the child, coldly and without mercy. It was swift and brutal, just like the Empire's reputation. They never imagined that the death of this one innocent human would ignite something far more dangerous than they could comprehend. Back on Earth, the news of the child's death spread like wildfire. The people were shocked, outraged, and heartbroken. They couldn't understand how anyone, let alone the Empire, could be so callous. The tragedy wasn't just the loss of a young life. It was the loss of something more, a symbol of humanity's strength, its will to survive, and its capacity for justice. At first, there was a sense of disbelief. People on Earth had always believed they were alone in the galaxy, unable to defend themselves from the vast powers that dominated the stars. The Empire's cold brutality had shaken them to their core. But as the news reached the leaders of Earth, something else began to stir, a quiet, growing fury. The leaders knew that this wasn't just the death of one child. It was an attack on humanity itself. In the darkest corners of Earth's governments, there were whispers of retaliation, whispers of vengeance. There were rumors that the human race, often underestimated and dismissed, had a secret power, a power that even the Empire could never have anticipated. The child's death had stirred something deep within Earth's people, a desire for revenge. They couldn't let it go. They wouldn't. The leaders of Earth, realizing the danger of underestimating their potential, made a choice. They would respond. They would not let this act of violence go unpunished. The Empire had made a fatal mistake, one that would change the fate of the galaxy forever. The people of Earth, small and forgotten as they were about to reveal something the Empire could never have imagined. As Earth's military began to mobilize, an air of mystery surrounded the preparations. The Empire, still blissfully unaware of the storm brewing, thought the humans would simply mourn their loss and do nothing. After all, what could a few human ships possibly do against the might of the Galactic Empire? But the truth was far more terrifying than they could have known. Deep in the heart of Earth's military bases, hidden from the Empire's gaze, humanity was preparing something enormous, a force that would send shockwaves through the entire galaxy. The child's death had sparked a fire, and that fire was quickly growing into an unstoppable blaze. The stage was being set for a battle that would shake the very foundations of the Empire. Soon, Earth's fleet would be ready, and the Galactic Empire would learn, too late, that they had made the greatest mistake of all. The mistake of underestimating the human spirit. The mistake of thinking that Earth could be ignored. The countdown to vengeance had begun, and as the first ships prepared for launch, there was only one thing on everyone's mind. Earth was not going to back down. The Empire would pay for what they had done. The humans had no intention of letting this tragedy slip into forgotten history. They would make sure the entire galaxy knew that when you attack one human, you attack them all. And so, with the first signs of movement in Earth's military ranks, the first of the Empire's inevitable enemies began to emerge. The humans, far from weak, were preparing for a battle unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. What the Empire didn't know yet, but would soon find out, was that Earth had just become a force to be reckoned with. Earth's response. The tragic death of the child sent ripples of anger and sorrow across the Earth, but it also ignited something more powerful: determination. The leaders of Earth could no longer ignore the Empire's brutality. The people, once content with their peaceful existence, were no longer passive observers in the galaxy. They were now a force united by grief and a burning desire for revenge. In secret, Earth's governments gathered, hidden deep underground, and in remote locations, high-ranking officials met in dark rooms. They spoke in hushed tones, knowing the Empire's reach extended far beyond their home planet. Any hint of their plan could result in an all-out war with a power that had ruled the stars for centuries. But the people of Earth had made their choice. They would respond, and they would respond with everything they had. As the days passed, whispers grew louder. Across cities and nations, people began to hear rumors of a secret project. Something unimaginable, something that could change the course of history. The Empire had made a grave mistake, and the humans weren't going to stand idly by. At first, the Empire's spies detected no unusual movements. Earth's military, as they saw it, was outdated, weak, and small compared to the vast forces of the Empire. They underestimated the resolve of the human race. What the Empire didn't know was that Earth had spent years in secret, developing technology far beyond their time. Ships that could rival the Empire's most advanced fleets were being constructed in secret shipyards, hidden on Earth's moons, and in the deep reaches of space. But none of this was visible to the Empire. As Earth's forces quietly mobilized, the Empire's leaders laughed, still underestimating their enemies. They believed humanity's power was only in numbers, and that nothing could stand against their superior technology. Yet the humans were not only about to strike back with their military strength, they were about to send a message. The message was clear. The death of one child would not go unnoticed. It was not just a call for revenge. It was a declaration of Earth's strength. The child's life would be avenged, and the galaxy would learn that humanity was not to be trifled with. Among Earth's leaders, a sense of urgency began to take hold. Time was running out. The Empire would soon discover what Earth had been hiding. The preparations for war were nearly complete, and as each day passed, the tension built. Earth was no longer a passive observer. It was a force to be reckoned with. The Empire, still oblivious to the scale of what was coming, made one final fatal mistake. They underestimated the resolve of humanity. They thought the humans would mourn, then forget. But Earth had no intentions of forgetting, and the first signs of their mighty fleet beginning to move were just the beginning. Soon, Earth would have its revenge, and the Galactic Empire, for the first time in its history, would be forced to realize that they were not the only power in the galaxy. The humans had awoken, and the entire universe would feel their wrath. As Earth's massive fleet of dreadnoughts readied themselves in secret, the countdown had begun. Soon, the galaxy would witness the full force of humanity's wrath. The tragic death of a single child would be avenged by a storm of 500,000 warships, a message the Empire would never forget. The dreadnoughts rise. The whispers of Earth's preparations had now spread throughout the secret channels, but the Galactic Empire still had no idea of the true extent of the forces being assembled. Their spies were clueless. Earth's technology had advanced far beyond what the Empire believed possible, and their most powerful ships, the dreadnoughts, were ready to rise. The dreadnoughts were colossal warships, each one a towering fortress capable of leveling entire cities with a single strike. These ships were not just weapons of war. They were symbols of humanity's newfound strength, the living embodiment of the vengeance they were about to deliver. Built in secret locations, hidden beneath layers of security, and surrounded by artificial moons, these ships were Earth's final answer to the Galactic Empire's cruelty. Each dreadnought was massive, several kilometers long and armed with enough firepower to challenge even the mightiest fleets in the galaxy. Earth had poured every resource into their creation, working in the shadows to ensure that when the time came, they would be ready. These ships were equipped with cutting-edge weapons, energy cannons that could slice through the toughest enemy armor, shields that could withstand even the heaviest of attacks, and warp drives that allowed them to travel across vast distances in the blink of an eye. Earth's engineers had combined the best of their military might with years of innovation, and now the result was ready to make its debut. In hidden space yards on Earth's moons and the distant reaches of deep space, the dreadnoughts were slowly awakened. The machines that had been constructed for months powered up one by one, their engines roaring to life with a thunderous energy that shook the stars. They rose from their hidden locations, one after another, into the cold vacuum of space. These ships were not just military vehicles. They were the foundation of Earth's response to the Empire, a force unlike any the galaxy had seen before. The dreadnoughts were not launched in a single wave. Instead, they came out of their hiding places in groups, moving silently through the stars, their sheer size and power concealed from enemy eyes. With every ship that left the surface of Earth's moons, humanity's resolve grew stronger. There was no turning back now. The plan was set in motion. Each dreadnought was more than just a warship. It was a symbol of what the death of a single child had ignited, a powerful, unstoppable fury. The first dreadnoughts arrived at Earth's orbit, gathering together in a formation that stretched across the heavens. The Empire, still unaware, would never have imagined such a force could be assembled. They believed Earth's resources were limited, and they assumed their enemies would never dare challenge them directly. But humanity had played its cards in secret, building an armada strong enough to make the Empire tremble. As the ships assembled, Earth's leaders knew that the time had come. There was no longer any doubt. The Galactic Empire had made a fatal error, one they would soon regret. The power of Earth, long underestimated, was now unleashed upon the stars. The dreadnoughts had risen, and they were ready for what was to come. At the heart of the fleet stood the largest of the dreadnoughts, an enormous ship capable of laying waste to entire worlds. It was humanity's flagship, and it carried within it the spirit of Earth's vengeance. The leaders of the fleet gathered aboard, their faces set with grim determination. The battle was about to begin, and they knew they could not afford to fail. The death of the child was a spark that had ignited a war, and now Earth's vengeance would burn through the galaxy. In the silent vacuum of space, the dreadnoughts began to move. Each ship silently engaged its warp drive, slipping through the stars as they headed toward the heart of the Galactic Empire. Their target, the Empire's most powerful worlds, the center of their military might, where the leaders of the Empire would soon feel the true weight of Earth's wrath. The first few dreadnoughts vanished into hyperspace, followed by wave after wave of the mighty warships. They traveled through the void with an intensity that was impossible to ignore. Earth's response was swift, calculated, and dead set on bringing the Empire to its knees. The Empire still had no idea what was coming, but soon they would. As the final dreadnoughts disappeared into the endless reaches of space, the Galactic Empire had just made its final mistake. Earth was coming, and they would not stop until their vengeance was complete. The first strike. The silence of space hung thick in the air as the first wave of Earth's dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace. The vastness of the galaxy stretched out before them, but their destination was clear: the heart of the Galactic Empire. The mighty warships, hundreds of them, slipped into the Empire's territory, their dark hulls a stark contrast to the glittering stars around them. They were not here to explore. They were here for one purpose only: vengeance. The Empire was still unaware of the oncoming storm. Their intelligence had picked up some unusual movements from Earth's ships, but they had brushed it off. They assumed it was nothing more than an insignificant show of force, a meaningless act that would soon pass. How could they have known that Earth had spent years preparing a response that would shake the foundations of their empire? The first dreadnoughts to arrive in the Empire's star system began to broadcast a message, a clear and undeniable sign that humanity had come to settle the score. The transmission crackled across the Empire's communications network, a simple message that would echo in the minds of every Imperial officer for the rest of their lives. This is Earth. You killed one of ours. We are coming. The Empire's leaders, still caught in their arrogance, laughed it off at first. How could this tiny planet, so far from the center of galactic power, possibly pose a threat to them? But as the dreadnoughts began to approach, their immense size and firepower became impossible to ignore. The Empire scrambled to react, but their response was slow, disorganized. By the time the first shots were fired, it was already too late. Earth's dreadnoughts moved with terrifying precision. They did not hesitate. They did not falter. With each passing moment, the Empire's defenses began to crumble. The first shots fired from the massive energy cannons of Earth's warships cut through the Imperial fleets like a hot knife through butter. Their once proud warships, built to intimidate and conquer, were helpless against the raw, unrelenting force of Earth's new military might. In the first battle, the Empire's most advanced ships were obliterated, their shields failing under the immense power of the Dreadnought's energy weapons. The Empire's fighters, fast and agile, were no match for the Dreadnought's sheer firepower. What had once been the most feared fleet in the galaxy now found itself on the retreat, its commanders scrambling for orders they did not know how to give. One by one, the Imperial warships fell, torn apart by the relentless barrage from Earth's fleet. The first wave of battle was a crushing victory for humanity. The Galactic Empire's forces, once thought invincible, were being torn to pieces by ships that, just weeks before, had been unknown to the galaxy. The terror spread across the Empire's ranks. Their communication lines buzzed with frantic messages as officers tried to understand what was happening. How could Earth, a species they had dismissed as weak and insignificant, launch such a powerful strike? They couldn't comprehend it. They couldn't believe it. At the heart of the battle, Earth's dreadnoughts continued their march, unyielding and unstoppable. The Imperial fleet, once so proud, was now a broken shell, fleeing from the wrath of a force they never saw coming. The galaxy had never seen a battle like this, one where an empire's greatest power was humbled by a single species, united in its fury and its desire for justice. The empire's leaders, in a panic, ordered their remaining forces to regroup. They couldn't lose their most valuable planets, their home systems. They had to stop the humans before it was too late. But as they scrambled to prepare for their next move, they were already too far behind. Earth's dreadnoughts continued to push forward, undeterred. The first strike had been made, and the message was clear. The Galactic Empire was not invincible. Humanity had risen from the shadows, and they were determined to see this through to the end. The Empire's once sturdy foundations had begun to crack. The galaxy would never be the same again. The humans had come, and they were not leaving until their vengeance had been exacted. The battle begins. The smoke of battle still hung in the cold void of space as Earth's dreadnoughts advanced deeper into the Galactic Empire's domain. The initial shock of the first strike had sent ripples of fear throughout the Empire. Their once proud fleets, shattered and scattered, struggled to regroup in the wake of the overwhelming attack. The Imperial war machine, so accustomed to dominating the stars, now found itself on the defensive, outclassed, and outmatched by Earth's unstoppable wrath. The leaders of the Galactic Empire, who had once ruled with absolute certainty, now scrambled in desperation. The first wave of Earth's dreadnoughts had not only torn apart their fleets, but had also shattered their morale. The Empire's most powerful warships had been obliterated in moments, and their most advanced weapons were useless against the human ship's overwhelming firepower. The Empire's forces, already stretched thin by the surprise attack, struggled to organize a counteroffensive. In response, the Empire's leaders ordered their remaining forces to regroup around their core worlds, where their most valuable resources, key military bases, and essential infrastructure lay. It was clear now that Earth was not just attacking randomly. They had a strategy, and if they could reach the heart of the Empire, Earth's vengeance would be complete. As the dreadnoughts continued their advance, they encountered Imperial forces in battle after battle. The Empire's once elite fighters were no match for the dreadnoughts' impenetrable shields and devastating weaponry. Imperial cruisers and destroyers, once feared throughout the galaxy, were torn apart by the overwhelming barrage of energy blasts from Earth's ships. The battlefields were littered with wreckage and debris, the broken remains of the Empire's once mighty fleet. Humanity's fleet, in contrast, moved with chilling precision. Each dreadnought coordinated seamlessly with the others, targeting weaknesses in the Empire's lines and exploiting every vulnerability. Every shot fired was a message. Earth was not here to negotiate. Earth was here for justice. And with each destroyed Imperial ship, the message was growing louder. The Empire's commanders were left in chaos. Their best tactical minds couldn't keep up with the relentless onslaught. They called for reinforcements, but it was too late. The dreadnoughts were already advancing toward their most crucial systems that would cripple the Empire if lost. The Empire's once pristine spaceports and military bases became battle zones, with Earth's ships laying waste to everything in their path. Across the battlefield, the dreadnoughts' powerful engines rumbled as they moved like titans, their hulls gleaming in the starlight. The Empire's fighters swarmed the dreadnoughts, trying to strike at weak points. But their efforts were in vain. Each attack was met with a swift retaliation. The dreadnoughts' massive energy shields absorbed the brunt of the damage, and their energy cannons decimated the Imperial forces in return. On one particularly fierce battlefield, a lone dreadnought found itself surrounded by a small fleet of Imperial destroyers. The Empire's commanders believed they had trapped it. They launched a full assault, expecting to overwhelm the single ship, but they hadn't counted on the dreadnought's offensive capabilities. Within moments, the dreadnought retaliated, unleashing a barrage of firepower that left nothing but burning wreckage in its wake. The Empire's ships were torn apart as if they were made of paper. The lone dreadnought moved through the debris, its mission clear: continue pushing forward, no matter the cost. Back at the command center on Earth, the mood was somber but determined. The people of Earth had seen the destruction. They had witnessed the toll of war, and they knew that the battle was far from over. But there was no going back now. Earth's vengeance had been unleashed, and the Empire would have to answer for the life they had taken. The first phase of the battle was over, but the real war had just begun. As the Empire's military powers struggled to regroup, Earth's forces continued their unrelenting assault. It wasn't just about victory anymore. It was about sending a message to the stars. Humanity was not to be ignored. And no matter how powerful the Empire had fought itself, it was no match for the fury of Earth. The battles raged on, and the damage to the Empire's once feared forces continued to mount. The Galactic Empire, in its arrogance, had made a fatal mistake by killing the human child. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. The first strikes were devastating, but Earth's fleet was still hungry for more. The fight had just begun, and Earth wasn't about to stop until the Empire was brought to its knees. Empire's desperation. The Empire, once an unstoppable force across the galaxy, now found itself on the brink of collapse. Their fleets lay in ruins, their most formidable warships reduced to drifting wreckage. The first wave of Earth's dreadnoughts had shattered their confidence and their pride. What had started as a single mistake, the death of a child, had now escalated into an all-out war, and the Empire could no longer pretend that Earth was an insignificant player. Humanity had proven that it could match the Empire's firepower, and worse, outmaneuver them with chilling precision. Inside the heart of the Empire's command center, panic began to set in. The military strategists and high-ranking officials who had once dictated the fate of countless planets now found themselves scrambling for solutions. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price. The once glorious empire was losing ground every minute, and the leaders knew that their remaining defenses were far too weak to face the full brunt of Earth's relentless assault. In desperation, the Empire began to throw everything they had left at the human invaders. The elite strike forces, the best trained and most feared warriors in the galaxy, were dispatched in a last-ditch effort to turn the tide. They were armed with advanced technology and superior combat skills, ready to engage Earth's dreadnoughts in direct confrontation. The Empire's commanders had no choice but to launch their most powerful weapons, hoping to stop the human onslaught before it reached their core worlds. But Earth's dreadnoughts were not so easily defeated. The Empire's most elite forces, which once could have torn apart entire fleets, now found themselves struggling against the sheer force of humanity's firepower. The advanced weaponry and technology aboard the dreadnoughts outclassed anything the Empire could throw at them. The battle tactics used by Earth's fleet were calculated, precise, and ruthless. No longer was it about brute force. It was about striking with speed, intelligence, and power. The desperate counteroffensive from the Empire's elite troops met a cold, unforgiving response. The Empire's remaining ships, though formidable, were no match for the human fleet. The dreadnoughts tore through the Imperial strike forces, their weapons devastating everything in their path. One by one, the Empire's last-ditch efforts were shattered. The galaxy's mightiest warriors were no match for the fury of Earth's vengeance. Even as the Empire's forces faltered, they did not give up. In their desperation, they began to target Earth's homeworld itself, hoping to cripple the humans' ability to wage war. Massive fleets of bombers and long-range weapons were launched at Earth's surface, but the Empire underestimated one crucial factor. Earth's people were not only determined, they were united. Every nation, every people, stood behind the idea of retribution for the life lost. Earth's defenses, though primitive compared to the Empire's, were now bolstered by a resolve stronger than any weapon. As Earth's forces continued their relentless assault, the Empire's command center was in disarray. Their communications lines were cut off, their intelligence systems hacked, and their fleet commanders left to make desperate decisions with little time or support. The Empire's military might was failing, and their core systems, once thought to be impenetrable, were now vulnerable. The Empire's leaders were forced to admit the unimaginable. They had miscalculated. They had never expected Earth to possess the strength or the will to fight back. They had believed the humans would bow to their superior might. But instead, Earth had unleashed a force that was beyond anything the Empire had ever faced. In the midst of this desperation, the Empire's highest leaders held a secret meeting. Some of them argued for peace, for negotiation. Others, more fanatical, called for the complete annihilation of Earth. But no one could come to an agreement. The Empire had reached a point of no return. They had underestimated humanity, and now their very survival was at stake. Earth, meanwhile, continued its advance. With every battle, with every victory, they drew closer to the heart of the Empire. The message was clear. There would be no mercy. The humans were unstoppable now, their fury unquenchable. The Empire's once imposing presence in the galaxy was fading, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble at the force Earth had unleashed. As Earth's dreadnoughts moved deeper into Imperial space, the Empire's desperation grew. But it was already too late. Earth's vengeance was unstoppable, and the Galactic Empire was on the brink of its greatest defeat. The final judgment. The time for battle was drawing to an end. Earth's fleet of dreadnoughts, relentless and unstoppable, now surrounded the Galactic Empire's final stronghold. The once invincible empire, which had crushed countless civilizations and ruled the galaxy with fear, was now on its knees. Their defenses were shattered, their military broken, and their leadership divided. The people of Earth had come for justice, and they would not stop until the Empire had paid for the death of one innocent child. As Earth's dreadnoughts entered the heart of the Empire's core systems, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The mighty warships, massive and impenetrable, hung in the dark void like a storm waiting to strike. With each passing moment, The fate of the Galactic Empire seemed more and more inevitable. Earth's fleet had already crushed the Empire's once formidable forces, and now only one thing remained: to bring the Empire's leaders to their knees. Inside the Imperial Command Center, panic had reached its peak. The Emperor, once confident in his absolute rule, now realized the truth. Earth was a force to be reckoned with. His most trusted advisors, once certain of victory, were now powerless. He had ignored the threat that Earth posed, dismissing it as an insignificant challenge. But now he could see the end of his reign was near. The Emperor, his empire in ruins, summoned the leaders of the remaining imperial forces. His voice trembled with a mixture of fear and defiance as he ordered them to prepare for one final stand. But deep down, even he knew it was too late. There was no force left to save them. The Empire had been decimated by humanity's wrath. At the same time, Earth's fleet moved into position. Every dreadnought, each more powerful than the last, was poised for the final strike. The message had already been sent. Earth had exacted its vengeance, and now it was time to bring an end to the Empire's reign. As the Empire's remaining fleet rallied around their capital world, Earth's leaders transmitted one final message: surrender or face total annihilation. The message was clear: there would be no mercy. The Empire had failed, and now it would pay the price. The Emperor, in a final act of desperation, sent out a plea for peace. He begged for mercy, offering to concede to whatever demands Earth had. But it was too late. The time for negotiations had passed. The death of the innocent child had set in motion a force that could not be stopped, and Earth had shown the galaxy that no power was greater than their will for justice. The first strike came from Earth's flagship, a massive dreadnought that led the charge into the heart of the Empire's capital. A single powerful blast of energy shot from its main cannon, cutting through the Imperial defense shields like they were nothing. The energy blast tore through the heart of the Empire's most fortified planet, igniting a series of explosions that rocked the planet's surface. Buildings crumbled, military installations were obliterated, and the once glorious capital of the Empire was reduced to rubble. The rest of the dreadnoughts followed suit, each ship firing its energy weapons in perfect synchronization. Waves of firepower ripped through the Empire's final defenses, and soon the capital world was a shadow of its former self. The Empire, in its last desperate moments, tried to retaliate, but it was too weak. The defenses had been overwhelmed long ago. In a final, stunning display of humanity's fury, Earth's fleet laid waste to the Empire's remaining strongholds. The Emperor's palace was destroyed in a cataclysmic explosion. The last remnants of the Empire's military crumbled under the weight of Earth's dreadnoughts. The once mighty Galactic Empire, which had ruled the galaxy with an iron fist for centuries, was now nothing more than a memory, its ashes scattered across the stars. The people of Earth had their vengeance. The death of one child had set the galaxy ablaze, and now the Empire was no more. Earth's fleet, victorious and unstoppable, turned away from the ruins of the Empire's capital and headed back to their home planet, knowing that they had delivered justice, not just for the child, but for all those who had suffered at the hands of the Empire. As Earth's dreadnoughts returned to their homeworld, the galaxy would never forget what had transpired. The Galactic Empire, once feared by all, had fallen, and Earth had proven that even the smallest of species, when united and determined, could topple the mightiest of empires. The death of a single human child had forever altered the balance of power in the galaxy. And thus, Earth's vengeance was complete. The message had been sent: when you attack one human, you attack them all. And the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget.